Terms at the Meadow. Late the following day, Rock and Rudsnut thoroughly scouted the Dolefield property from the cover of the trackside wood. Eventually, the Rook burst forth and performed a final reconnaissance flight about the farm, checking upon some details and making sure the coast was clear of farmers and gun barrels. He then landed on a trackside fence post of the Dolefield herd and softly clicked a signal to his partner. The fox now flashed across the track and joined the Rook at the fence post, hunched in the long grasses, peering through. And so the cows were beckoned, Rock trumpeting a great caw to get their attention. The cattle slowly made their way over, Berta shepherding them. "Cows of Dolefield," said the Rook, "we Rock and Rudsnut have heard your plight and are prepared to make mischief upon the locomotive menace. While we do face such challenges primarily for glory and the protection of bird and beast from maniacal men, we still require small compensation for our efforts. This is only fair considering the hunting and looting time we will be sacrificing, not to mention the extraordinary dangers being undertaken. Given the magnitude of this foe, we ask the herd up front to donate just one of your finely forged bells, ornaments we have taken a liking to but never had the luck to acquire." The Rook eyed the handsome bronze adornments on the necks of the meadow giants. "After the successful defeat of this foe, we will require the delivery of all the milk thief's cheese bags from your shelter." And the Rook pointed his beak to the open hut on the side of the meadow, where a dozen or so cheeses had been hung by the farmer. "This will be our compensation for saving you all." What a modest sum it is. The cows mooed amongst themselves with an air of uncertainty to downright bewilderment. "We're not sure we can provide such payments," said Berta. "Surely we'll be punished for chewing off the cheeses. And it will be quite obvious it is us by the fact this cheese is hung in our meadow, and the chewing required to sever the rope is beyond small animals." "Perhaps," said Rock. "But unless cows are caught in broad daylight, which would be quite foolish, the farmer would never know which animals were responsible. The whole herd can hardly be exiled. You must remember that the farmers need you more than you need them. After all, can't you graze the grass from any field you come across, even in the wild places? Can't you drink from any stream or pond?" This was quite a stunning revelation to the cows, who now imagined a life without a farmer, and how strange that would be. "In any case," said Rock, "you must consider that even a small spanking from the milk thief is worth it, if you are to be saved from the deadly beatings of the track-bound behemoth." The cows gathered their heads and discussed the offer in low moos, some chewing the cud to help them think. They certainly took their time, but not out of true precaution. Time simply runs a little slower in the graze-paced world of a herd. Meanwhile, the action-packed pair fidgeted in frustration. The Rook scanned the skies for threats, and the fox kept eyes on the outer farm, with twitching ears tracking up and down the railway behind him. Eventually, an irritable Rock called out, "We need an answer, cows of Dolefield," he said. "We're not ones to stand still in the open like crane-necked herds. It means being easy targets for talons or lethal lead balls." Berta finally led a party of cows back over to the pair. "We accept your terms," she said, "and I will donate my own bell to the cause." Berta ushered the cows to stand in a half circle, blocking sight of her from the farmstead, and then lowered herself down, head before the post, offering up the first payment. Rock hopped onto the neck belt and began unbuckling the stiff leather, with Rudsnut lending a thong to help hook the tongue out. In short time, the pair had the belt undone, and the bell clanged free into the meadow grass. It was like a conjurer's trick to the watching herd. And Berta now rose, happy to have the collar removed for a while. The Rook proceeded to stuff soil and turf into the bell to muffle it for their trip home. "Needs a lot more clay," said Rudsnut, digging into the turf to extract some. "It'll be fine," said Rock. "If I'm carrying it," said Rudsnut, "I'm not clanging my way home like a walking alarm bell, so every muzzle in the district can lock on." And so the Rook extracted some clay-rich chunks of soil from the fox's little hole and jammed the bell to the brim, then cleaned his beak on his partner's red-furred tail in irritation. Finally, the Rook flew back onto the post. "Cows of Dolefield," he said, "with this business complete, we will officially begin our plotting and stratagem generation. But already we have prepared some preliminary assistance. This is how you must help to protect yourselves from the luring trickery of the train, until it can be stopped by our mighty Mischief. As the sun goes down, you must all face the direction of that windmill over yonder, which will turn your gaze away from the approach of this train and its hypnotizing light. You must then lock your heads in this direction for the entire night, every night, until we have secured the victory." "But what if the train fails to come?" said Berta. "It doesn't matter," said Rock. "This is a precaution you must stick to for the nights when it does." "But it will be so difficult to stay looking in one direction for so long," said a cow, others clearly in agreement. "It's not natural." "Of course it isn't," said Rudsnut. "But this is the discipline you will need to survive." And here we can see why the cows had been so easy to strike, being not only docile and disorganized, but overly accustomed to carefree meadow ways. Though let's not be too harsh on these gentle creatures, who knew no better and are masters of milk, not mischief. "We'll do our best to sleep like this," said Berta, all facing the windmill, as strange as it might be for us. "Then all is done for the present," said Rock. "Look out for us in the coming days and nights," said Rutsnut. "We may require extra clues or even physical assistance from the creatures of this farm. Good night, and keep the windmill in your sights." And with that, the plotting pair slipped away, Rutsnut carrying the finely forged bell, heading back into the shadowy wild. Home at the manor, they installed the bronze device, the fox reeling up and wedging the belt into a gappy edge stone on the chimney chute just above the fireplace. "It's about time we got a true alarm bell," said Rock. "It's too easy to mistake your warning screams for an hysterical farmer's wife. And it's too easy to mistake your ears for antholes in a mound," said Rutsnut, "which is probably why they can't discriminate between such vastly different things."